Have you ever been, knee-deep in a project, just feeling like you're constantly reacting, putting out fires instead of actually preventing them?
Oh, absolutely. Or watching a really crucial target just kind of sail right past.
Exactly. And you're left wondering, why isn't all this effort hitting the mark? It's a really common feeling, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What if there was a systematic way, like almost surgical, not just patching things up, but really understanding, measuring, and then engineering dramatic improvements, and crucially, bringing everyone along for the ride?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How often we just jump into fixing things without a clear blueprint. We rely on intuition, maybe past experience, sometimes, honestly, just crossing our fingers.
Right.
So today we're diving deep into a framework that's designed to give you that exact map, operational excellence. And it's powered by the incredible rigor of Six Sigma methodology. Our mission here is to explore how businesses don't just, hope for operational excellence, but actually achieve it through structured approaches like Six Sigma's DMAIC framework.
DMAIC. Got it.
Peel back the layers on why engaging people is just absolutely non-negotiable, how to measure what truly matters, and the step-by-step process that drives and, importantly, sustains those big improvements. We're looking at a stack of really illuminating sources for this, including a fantastic guide to operational excellence by Vishnu Rayapeti.
Great. So where do we start? What's the foundation?
It really begins with leadership and engagement.
Okay, so our materials kick off highlighting something really fundamental. There's a quote. Leadership is influencing people so that they commit totally to achieving the business goals. It's clearly more than just handing out tasks, isn't it?
Way more. It's about building that shared vision, getting people genuinely invested, inspiring them to be part of the solution, not just executors.
Right, because if you connect that to the bigger picture, it seems like the success or failure of any big initiative really hinges on engaging your stakeholders.
Completely. These are the people whose buy-in can make or break everything you're trying to do, which of course raises that big question. How do you rally everyone when, let's face it, resistance to new ways is common? It happens everywhere.
Yeah, it's almost a given.
And often it's not even malice, right? It's just a lack of full understanding about the change, or maybe what it means for them personally.
So it's less about telling, more about showing the why, and giving them the tools, the confidence to step into that new way of doing things.
Exactly. Our sources really hammer this home. Leadership here means painting a clear picture of success, actively leading by example, and, as one phrase puts it, finding the right buttons to push to really spark that change.
Finding the right buttons. I like that.
And a critical first step in that is to genuinely create the need for change. Now, that doesn't mean manufacturing a crisis.
No, of course not.
But asking those sharp questions. Where are we right now? Where do we absolutely need to be? And the big one, okay, how do we actually get there? This builds that shared sense of urgency. Momentum.
Makes sense.
And tackling resistance, it's not just about broadcasting messages. It's about understanding people's ability. Do they have the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitude, the KSA, right, to succeed after the change? If not, you've got a problem baked in from the start.
That makes incredible sense. And it really links up with another crucial point the materials emphasize, the power of feedback. They say feedback is the tool that drives performance adjustment. Without it, how do teams even know if they're on track?
You just don't. You can't navigate without a compass, can you? Feedback, formal, informal, peers, leadership. It's all essential for high performance. And here's a really critical piece. Without adequate targeted training, any improvement activity, no matter how brilliant the idea, is probably going to fail.
The training aspect, often overlooked.
Hugely. Organizations must conduct a training needs analysis, figure out what skills are actually needed, then implement a training plan. Ensure everyone gets those specific skills for the new systems, the new processes. Otherwise, you're basically setting people up to stumble.
Okay, here's where it gets, for me anyway, really interesting and often pretty revealing. There's this powerful principle in the materials. If it cannot be measured, it cannot be controlled. Or another version. If it cannot be measured, it cannot be improved with confidence. So what does this actually mean for an organization, on the ground trying to get better?
It means you're essentially flying blind. It highlights a core truth. Measurements aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They create a shared understanding of your current state where you are now.
Right.
And they let you set tangible objectives for your future state where you want to go. They help establish milestones to track progress along the way, and critically, they confirm that the change process has been successful.
So you actually know if it worked.
Exactly. Without solid, reliable data, you're just guessing whether your efforts made a real difference. And that's, frankly, a dangerous game in business today.
Okay, so if we need to measure, what should we be measuring? It's easy to track something, but tracking what matters, that's harder. Our sources talk about key result areas, KRAs.
That's right. KRAs are those broad, critical business areas you want to impact. Things like quality, cost reduction, service level, safety, productivity. They're your strategic.
The big buckets.
The big buckets, yeah. But then you need to define how you measure success within those buckets. And that leads us to key performance indicators, KPIs.
KPIs. Everyone talks about KPIs.
They do. And we all know they need to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-framed. But the real challenge, the insight that often gets missed, is making sure they aren't just vanity metrics.
Yes. Numbers that look good but don't mean much.
Precisely. Impressive numbers that don't actually drive the right behaviors or reflect true progress towards those KRAs.
And it's not enough just to have these smart KPIs, is it? You got to make sure people see them, use them. The source is warned. Out of sight, out of mind. Seems obvious, but...
It's so true, but so often forgotten. KPIs need a robust communication strategy. They have to be visible, easy to interpret, genuinely meaningful to the people looking at them. And this is key current.
Like a car dashboard.
Yeah.
If it's hidden or wrong, it's useless.
Perfect analogy. And our sources are so clear on this, they actually place established KPIs for measurement as step 2 in a 6-step change management model, right after defining the change itself. It's foundational, not some afterthought.
Wow, step 2. That really highlights its importance. #3. Introducing Six Sigma and the DMAIC roadmap.
So building on that understanding of why measurement is critical and who needs to be involved.
Right.
Let's talk about a framework that pulls all these pieces together into a really powerful, actionable roadmap. And that's where Six Sigma truly shines.
Okay, Six Sigma. Our sources say it's much more than just a buzzword.
Oh, it really is. Six Sigma isn't just a catchy name. It's a whole philosophy, a rigorous methodology, and a demanding measurement standard.
How so?
Well, as a philosophy, it champions reducing variation in processes, maintaining an unwavering focus on the customer, and taking a relentlessly data-driven approach. As a measurement standard, it aims for an astonishingly low defect rate, 3.4 defects per million opportunities.
3.4 per million, that's near perfection.
It is near perfection.
Yeah.
But the real insight isn't just that number. It's how aiming for that forces you to dissect every tiny step of a process. It reveals hidden costs, hidden inefficiencies that even really experienced teams often overlook.
So it forces a level of detail you might otherwise miss.
Exactly. The magic is understanding how even small, seemingly insignificant variations can pile up into massive problems over time. Six Sigma gives you the surgical tools to find them and, crucially, eliminate them.
And that surgical process, that roadmap,
Yeah.
that's what we call DMAIC, right?
That's it. DMAIC. It stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control.
Define, measure, analyze, improve, control.
Think of it like a systematic 5-stage journey. It takes a single project from, okay, where are we right now, all the way to the end goal. How do we make sure these hard-won gains actually stick?
So it's a structured problem-solving approach.
Precisely, helping you move from ambiguity and maybe guesswork towards improvement that's institutionalized and self-sustaining.
All right, let's kick off with define. When you're using this structured DMAIC approach, what's the very first step in tackling a problem? What does define really mean here?
This phase is all about getting crystal clear, defining the exact problem you're trying to solve, quantifying its potential benefits, why bother, and identifying the dedicated project team.
Okay.
And a critical tool here, as our sources really emphasize, is the project charter.
The project charter.
Yes. Think of it as the key document, almost like a contract for the project. It defines the objectives, the scope, and importantly, its financial impact. Without a strong charter, projects can just wander off course.
So what actually goes into a good project charter? What are the core bits that make it so powerful?
It's got several vital components. First, a really sharp problem statement. What's wrong? Described in measurable terms if possible.
Measurable.
Then, a compelling business case. Why is this project necessary? What's the value? Followed by a clearly defined scope setting realistic boundaries, what's in, what's out, and typically aiming for completion within, say, 3 to 6 months.
Keeps it focused.
Exactly. Then you have critical to quality elements, or CTQs. These are the things that absolutely must be right from the customer's perspective. They're non-negotiable.
Like battery life on a phone.
Perfect example. If that's your CTQ and it fails, nothing else matters much, right? Six Sigma forces us to pinpoint these attributes and make them measurable. And finally, a goal statement. This outlines the team's improvement objective using those SMART criteria we mentioned earlier.
Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. Got it.
That's the one.
Now, I see the materials also really stress understanding the cost of poor quality, or COPQ. This sounds like a huge part of quantifying the why in a very tangible way.
It absolutely is. COTQ is often incredibly eye-opening. It has two sides, the visible costs and the hidden costs.
Okay.
Visible costs are the easy ones: rework, rejects, scrap material, warranty claims, stuff you can point to.
Yeah, obvious stuff.
Right, but then there are the hidden costs, which are often far bigger. Things like lost sales because your reputation took a hit, reduced customer loyalty, longer cycle times slowing everything down, excess inventory you're holding because of defects, even just the administrative hassle of sorting out customer problems.
Wow. It's like finding money you didn't know you were losing.
That's a great way to put it. Understanding both really helps build an undeniable business case. And where do these projects come from? Well, they can surface from obvious problems everyone knows about, or from brainstorming sessions, or through more structured analysis of company data, often tied directly to those core business metrics we talked about.
Our sources give a great example charter. An A320 spoiler panel project, it clearly states the problem. A320 spoiler panels facing disc bond problem, which is causing high scrap, and even gives specific numbers, 6.56%, 2006. Then the goal is just as specific. Reduce spoiler MQ by 50%, from 6.56%, 2006 to 3.28%, 2007. That's incredibly precise. Leaves no wiggle room.
It's a beautiful illustration of SMART goals in action. And once you have that rigorous definition nailed down, then you move to measure.
Measure, yeah.
The measure phase is all about understanding your current process capability, what's really happening now. It means defining precisely what counts as a defect, what counts as an opportunity for a defect, and then creating a really robust data collection plan.
Okay, so how do you collect reliable data, not just random numbers? What makes a good data collection plan that gives you real insights?
Well, a good plan starts with an operational definition. That's a precise, unambiguous description of how you're going to get the value for whatever characteristic you're measuring. No fuzziness allowed.
Clear instruction.
Exactly. Then, for each measure, you need to identify the exact data source, the sample size you'll need, who is going to collect the data, when they'll collect it, how they'll collect it, like manual measurement using triangle ruler. Very specific.
Right.
And finally, how that data will actually be used. Is it for establishing a baseline? Is it for root cause analysis later, displaying in charts? It all needs to be thought out.
Makes sense.
Imagine a small catapult. They often use these in training, called an X Pult. Teams launch foam balls at a target.
Okay.
Our sources mention using it to collect 100 measurements using the catapult to hit a target. It's a hands-on way to really bring home the idea of systematically collecting data to truly understand a process's current state and all its variations.
Okay, so we've meticulously collected our data in the measure phase. Now it's time for analyze. This is where we shift from just knowing what's happening to figuring out why, right? We're digging for those root causes.
Precisely. In the analyze phase, we really roll up our sleeves. We identify the sources of variation in the data we collected, and we perform root cause analysis to find those critical X's, the specific factors, the inputs that are truly influencing the output, the why.
The X is influencing the Y. Okay.
This is where tools like the cause and effect diagram, you might know it as a fishbone, or Ishikawa diagram, really shine.
The fishbone diagram, yeah, I've seen those.
They visually map the relationship between a problem, the head of the fish, and all its potential causes, the bones, often categorized into things like materials, methods, machinery, manpower, measurement, environment. The M's, it helps break down complex issues.
Makes it easier to see all the potential factors.
Exactly. And another key tool, deceptively simple, is the 5 why analysis.
Ah, the 5 whys. Just keep asking why until you hit bedrock. Sounds easy.
It sounds easy, but it requires real discipline. You ask why at least 5 times, or basically until you can't find a deeper, actionable cause. The real art, and often the challenge, is pushing past superficial answers, avoiding blame.
Getting past human error.
Yes. Not stopping at human error, but asking, okay, why did that human error occur? What in our process or system or training allowed it to happen? That's where the real learning is. Our sources use that X Pult simulation again. Why couldn't you hit the 2.5 meters target accurately? Why is your process not stable and capable? Those why questions drive real analysis.
Got it. So once we think we've pinpointed the why, the root causes, then we move to improve. This sounds like where the solutions come in, where the diagnostic work starts to pay off.
Absolutely. This is where we take those critical inputs, those X's we identified in, analyze, verify them, and figure out their optimum settings. We brainstorm potential solutions, carefully select and optimize the best ones, and then crucially, we pilot them, test them out on a small scale first.
Pilot testing. Smart. See if it actually works before going big.
Exactly. You need to validate their effectiveness before a full-scale implementation.
So how do teams actually generate these solutions? Do they just, hope for a light bulb moment? Or is it more structured?
The materials suggest several structured methods, things like robust brainstorming sessions, sure, but also rigorous benchmarking, seeing what best practices look like elsewhere.
Learning from others.
Yes, researching new technologies or different approaches, maybe talking to suppliers or even customers, and of course, tapping into the collective knowledge of your own staff. The people who live the process every day often have fantastic ideas.
Makes sense.
And when you're evaluating these potential solutions, you have to consider several things. Their impact long-term versus short-term. Does it really fix the root cause or just monitor the problem? And then there's cost.
Always cost. Initial cost, ongoing cost.
Both. And time, as you mentioned earlier, is always a factor.
Huge factor.
It really is. And time isn't just the technical time to implement. It's also political constraints, other priorities, competing for resources, and cultural constraints. How long will it take to get genuine buy-in from everyone involved?
So much to juggle.
It is. Which is why teams often use something like a solution selection matrix. It helps weigh all these factors: impact, cost, time, ease of implementation, maybe risk to prioritize the improvements with the higher overall rating. It brings some objectivity to the decision.
A structured way to choose.
Right. And going back to our X Pult example, this improve phase is where, based on that root cause analysis, the team would brainstorm and come out with an improvement plan, maybe adjust the catapult settings or the launch procedure, and then test it out and collect the data again to see if they actually hit the target more consistently, calculate the new process capability.
Okay, so we've defined the problem, measured where we are, analyzed why it's happening, and implemented improvements. The project feels done, right? But there's one more letter. C for control. How do we make sure all that hard work actually sticks? This feels like the phase that could easily get overlooked.
You are absolutely right. It is frequently the Achilles heel of improvement projects.
Oh.
Implementing robust controls is crucial to sustain the gains. It's about preventing that slide back into the old, less efficient ways.
So what does control involve practically?
It involves validating the performance of those key process inputs and outputs you adjusted, establishing clear, new process limits or standards, and meticulously documenting the new procedures, locking in the changes.
Documenting. The essential but sometimes tedious part.
It is, but it's vital. A key tool here is the process control plan. Think of it as a central document that tracks the status of all the significant process characteristics you've improved. It ensures continuity and stability going forward.
Okay, a control plan. Why is sustaining these improvements so important beyond just finishing this one project? What's the bigger picture?
Well, because as our sources put it quite starkly, if you are not improving, you're going backwards. Sustaining improvements isn't just about closing out a project nicely.
Right.
It ensures you actually meet those strategic business objectives you set out to achieve. It prevents the enormous waste of time, effort, money, and resources you just poured into the beforement. Define, measure, analyze, and improve phases.
All that effort down the drain if you don't control it.
Precisely. It evaporates. And ultimately, sustaining improvement helps maintain your competitive edge. If you don't control, you lose the benefit.
So what are the critical elements then? How do we make sure these improvements become the new normal, not just a temporary blip?
Our sources outline several really vital ones. First, communication. It's paramount. Not just reporting results, but for ongoing motivation, keeping support high, fostering involvement, and maybe negotiating further small adjustments. Visual communication, like having dedicated improvement boards showing progress, is particularly effective here.
Keep it visible.
Keep it visible. Second, training and workforce skills. It's not a one-and-done thing in the improve phase. There's an ongoing need for people to be trained and refreshed on the new systems, the new processes, to stop old habits creeping back in or new failure points appearing.
Continuous learning.
Yes. Third, continuously monitoring your measures and indicators. especially those KPIs you established way back. Keep tracking them and regularly auditing the process against the defined criteria.
An audit process sounds a bit formal. What does that look like to be effective?
It means clearly defining what you're checking the standards, communicating those standards effectively, documenting your findings transparently, the good and the bad, identifying any times the process slips, any nonconformances, and then, crucially, initiating prompt corrective actions.
And following up on those actions.
Rigorously following up to verify they actually worked. And finally, maybe the most important piece for long-term stability, standard work practice.
Standard work, making it the official way.
Exactly. You literally lock in the changes with new standard work procedures and practices. You standardize the best practices you developed, making them the common accepted way across the organization. This allows the new standard to truly stabilize before you even think about the next round of changes.
Let the dust settle.
Let it settle and become routine. The whole DMAIC cycle wraps up with project closeout checkpoints. Confirming objectives were met, making sure someone clearly owns the process going forward, checking the control plan is solid, and documenting those all-important financial benefits.
That full circle. Makes sense. Hashtag outro.
So when you pull it all together...
Yeah, what does this all mean for us? We've seen how operational excellence, really driven by this rigorous 5-stage DMAI cycle, transforms problem solving. It takes it from, guesswork and constant firefighting into something much more like a precise, data-backed science. It's about so much more than just fixing things. It's fundamentally improving, genuinely engaging people, and then building the systems to sustain those incredible gains for the long haul.
It really is. Which raises, I think, an important question for you, our listener. When you look at your own processes, maybe at work or perhaps even a personal goal, what is one key thing that you currently can't measure easily? But if you could measure it, you have a hunch it would unlock some significant, maybe even transformative improvement.
That's a great question. And maybe consider how applying just one single principle from this deep dive, maybe it's pushing for clearer stakeholder engagement on something, or defining just one truly smart KPI for a task, or even just pausing to ask why 5 times when you hit a snag, how that could reveal an entirely new path to achieving your goals. What single small measurement that you maybe start tracking today that might just transform your entire understanding of a process or even a challenge in your own life?